You are watching Sports Extra and I am your host Ahmad Nawaz. Now a lot to discuss on today's show. We've got so many things coming your way. Let's take a look at the lineup first of all, because we've got some action-packed things that we will be discussing on the table of Sports Extra today. We'll start off with boxing. Of course, it was a night for heavyweight boxing and it was a lot to talk about because it was Tyson Fury against Dillian Whyte. We did talk about this in the previous show as well as a pre-hype to the fight itself. But what we knew was that of course Fury, the Gypsy King, is the better fighter, and of course predictions were there. We had Ahson Haqqani on the show and he did predict that it's not going to last much longer, but it did till the 6th round, and that's when the result came in, which was expected and predicted, and it was Tyson Fury who overcame Whyte and of course won this fight once again and hinted at his retirement as well. Great fight once again. The Gypsy King said he is the best in the world, and I think there is no doubt about it that he is the best in the world. An action-packed fight, Wembley Arena, 90,000 plus fans. This is what you want from boxing, and of course great sportsman spirit at the end as well. So great to see an all-British brawl when you talk about boxing itself as well. After that, we will be discussing more things on Sports Extra. We'll go towards cricket, and in cricket we'll of course discuss some fabulous performances by Pakistani cricketers in the county championship, starting off from Shan Masood, absolutely amazing, and then of course moving on to Hasan Ali with his best figures of taking 9 wickets, making sure that Lancashire earned victory. A superb performance, breaking middle stump, setting up the batsman with 2 bouncers, then a full-length delivery coming back in. Hasan Ali is back in form. We now see the Hasan Ali which he was known for. Then splendid debut for Haris Rauf and Shaheen Shah Afridi as well. Notable performances. And also the fact that Mohammad Amir is going to make a return to county championship. That is of course sensational news as well. So that will be for the segment of cricket. Then we'll of course move on to the Portuguese Grand Prix, where we will be discussing that in detail, where Fabio Quartararo has dominated to take the championship lead. It's the first win for Quartararo since 2021. Johan Zarco has finished second, and Bastiani lost control, crashed out of the race as well. So a bit of Motogp at the end. We will be discussing that. That is on the show today. We'll start our segment off with boxing. Like I said, Fury against Whyte. Fury's taken that fight. He's wowed everyone as expected, and we'll talk more on this. We have been joined by someone who will hint at it as well, because he did predict this before the fight took place, and it was great to see as well, because it's very important that when you see heavyweight boxing, I think we've discussed this before as well in the previous shows, that somewhat heavyweight boxing has been defined by these individuals. We all remember the era of Mike Tyson, but then of course moving on, the question was, is Tyson Fury the greatest heavyweight boxer of this generation, of this time, the modern era? And I think that question has been answered. He is, and he is there to stay as well. Now we've been joined by fellow anchor at PTV and sports expert Ahson Haqqani. Ahson, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
How are you, Ahmad?
I'm great. It's as you predicted. The Gypsy King has said it, that he's a legend in the game, and that's how the fight went, as we predicted on the show as well, and as you clearly highlighted, that it's not going to go long.
I totally said that it won't go long, won't go more than 6 rounds. You said it would be around 4 rounds. But, you know, being so long in the sport, you tend to predict some of the fights right. I mean, Tyson Fury, if he says 6 rounds, it is 6 rounds. It won't go more than 6 rounds.
What did you make of the fight itself as well? I know we'll talk about Fury in detail, but as far as the competition from the other side was concerned, Whyte surviving those 6 rounds?
I think Dillian Whyte sort of survived the 5-6 rounds. Tyson Fury caught him off guard. He wasn't expecting Tyson Fury going on with a flurry and a hook, the way he knocked him out. But it was evident that in the later rounds of the game, even if Dillian Whyte survives, he's going to go down. Then again, I told you a pre-fight interview as well, that Dillian Whyte comes from an MMA background, and these guys tend to make sure that these guys give it their all in their initial rounds. That's the reason why they don't have much to work on in the later rounds. They get tired.
What about Fury now? I mean, hinting at retirement, taking this fight, really enjoyed it. Then even after the post match as well in the ring, he said it, he's a legend and he's the best in the world. And that is true if you talk about heavyweight boxing in this era.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no other boxer in the heavyweight division right now that could compete to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury has been a legend. Tyson Fury has been in the ring with other great boxers as well. He beat Vladimir Klitschko at his peak when nobody else could beat him. He wasn't even in his form when he beat Vladimir Klitschko. And then coming up with 3 fights with Deontay Wilder, proving that he's pound for pound the best boxer in the heavyweight division. And I think there's going to be a comeback. He wouldn't retire. He's retired once back in his career, then came back in the ring. So you can expect anything from the Gypsy King.
Why is there that we see a drought in heavyweight boxing? I mean, we have so many boxers in other divisions, but particularly heavyweight boxing. Now, of course, with Tyson hinting at retirement, what's the next era for heavyweight boxing?
Well, we've got some new heavyweights coming in from the U.S. Then again, I'd say I'd want to see Deontay Wilder in the ring back again. And Tyson Fury has played a great role in helping him come back in the ring as well, despite the fact that these guys had a feud between themselves. But Tyson Fury was always of the opinion that Deontay Wilder should come back. Then we've got other heavyweights in the division as well. We've got Alexander Usyk is going to be really amazing. He's just unified the IBA, IBF, and WBO titles. So it's sort of turned towards the Europe belt rather than the US now. It was in the US. The titles, all the heavyweight titles were initially from the US. Andy Ruiz won from Anthony Joshua, the fat guy. But, you know, Deontay Wilder lost, then Andy Ruiz lost to Anthony Joshua. It's more of a Eurocentric approach now, but I expect the heavyweight division to come back with a flurry again. It takes around 10 to 12 years. There's a gap in between, just like the Mike Tyson's era, and then now we saw the heavyweights coming back again with the Klitschko brothers, sort of entertaining stuff with Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, now Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk. So we've got so many other players as well, but there comes a gap in between every 10 or 12 years. So we'd have to wait for it. Look at some cruiserweights or the middleweights or even the light welterweights division. That's more of entertainment.
That is more of entertainment for now, but one thing is for sure that Gypsy King is a legend. Ahson Haqqani, thank you very much for joining us. Tyson Fury, the best heavyweight in the world, no doubt about it.
And I think
that is there to stay as well. Now moving our focus to cricket, like we talked about, that our players are performing superbly in the county championships that are happening. We talk about Shan Masood setting a record, a history making in the county championship, scoring back-to-back double hundreds as well. Then, of course, if you move on, you see stellar performance by Hasan Ali, picking up match figures of 9 to ensure that Lancashire win. Superb performance, the way he's setting up the batsman, 2 short deliveries and then 1 full length coming back in, breaking a middle stump on a superb Yorker. I think Hasan Ali is back in form, and great to see that excitement from him as well. And then, of course, the fact that Shaheen Shah Afridi, Haris Rauf have a great debut in the county championship, and then Ahmad wanting to return as well. All that in this segment of cricket. We've been joined in studios by cricket commentator and our cricket expert, K. Asif Ahmad. Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Walaikum assalam, I'm good, Ahmad, thank you. How about yourself?
Great, good to have you on the show, but stellar performances in the county championship. I think let's start with Shan Masood first of all.
If you talk about Shan Masood, you know that everyone talks about his performance, and we have watched him in last couple of months before the PSL. Everyone was talking about what's going on with Shan Masood. The one thing is that the only important thing that is really hard worker. And in the last couple of months, before that, he went to South Africa to work on his technique.
Individually, yes.
Yes, individually he went there in Mickey Arthur's academy there, and he worked really hard to work, on weaknesses, because we have watched several failures from him, especially in test ball, in test cricket. And after that, then he came in Multan Sultans, played superbly. Before that, he was stunning in domestic cricket as well, and got a couple of centuries, 119 in one match, even he was suffering with some family problems as well. So he's come back in the domestic cricket, and then in PSL it was superb, and he's going with the same form and rewrote history. Actually, he's the first Asian, if you talk about after the 1933, before the partition and the subcontinent. In 1933, there was a player who scored double tons in a row, and now is the first Pakistani who did after so many years, after a long time. So it means that he's growing up with his maturity, he's growing up with his confidence, his technique, each and everything.
Well,
is
what
there.
does it do to Pakistan cricket now? Because I always have a question that play a player when he is in his prime form. Now we understand Imamul Haq is there, the captain and the team management have their own plans. Abdullah Shafiq is a possibility. Abid Ali wants to make a comeback. Shan Masood, of course, was part of the squad but never in the playing 11. With such a performance now, how can we expect Shan Masood to be part of that playing 11?
A good question, but one thing, keep in your mind that Abdullah Shafiq and Imamul Haq, both of them playing really nicely. And we're talking about red ball cricket.
Yep.
And if the red ball cricket is coming up in Pakistan, and we had a good series against Australia, and it was a tough series, and Abdullah Shafiq played nicely, and then Imamul Haq and Babar Azam, Rizwan. The one thing, only one player concerned, that is the Fawad Alam. So I think Shan Masood won't be playing on number 5, number 6. So a bit difficulty for the Pakistan cricket board that either you're going with the Shan Masood or with Abdullah Shafiq. So if you see that Abdullah Shafiq played nicely, he's a youngster, and it was his debutant series here in Pakistan against Australia, the first time he was playing in Pakistan, Abdullah Shafiq. So all the pressure now on the cricket board that. So
many players now.
Yes, many players now. This is good, that the best players sitting in the dugout even. So you have got the opportunity. But I think that give some time more to Abdullah Shafiq and Imamul Haq, because I remain critic of Imamul Haq, but what his performance is bad. He told everyone that I'm good, and not even in red ball cricket, but the white ball cricket as well.
We'll see when we move out of Pakistan. Then we'll see.
Look, good question. Even you're smiling, but I'm taking it really serious. You are right that if we are not, the players like Imamul Haq and Abdullah Shafiq, if they won't be able to play on the green track, on the grassy pitches like Shan Masood is performing in...
I said it because you always highlight the importance of being technically very sound.
Yes, but you know that in Pakistan even, on the straight pitches, if you're playing good against Mitchell Starc, Josh Hazelwood, and then Pat Cummins.
Yeah.
So even then we appreciate
No, complete credit. I think complete credit to the
Yeah.
performance there. But obviously Shan Masood is also one that can make him, a solid foundation for our opening department as well.
And then one thing is really important, that even that we were watching the you can see clearly there's a grass on the tracks. So that's why the fast bowlers like Hasan Ali getting help, and Haris is always quick.
But let's talk about Hasan Ali. How important was this for him as an individual, considering that he had completely lost his confidence?
Really important. Not only for the Hasan Ali, but the rest of the players, if they're getting momentum and they're getting confidence. But especially when we talk about Hasan Ali, he was not good in World Cup, and after that in PSL he was not fine, and even in Bangladesh we were talking about his performances, and then in Pakistan he failed completely to perform well up to the mark. So when a player is in hot water, is in dark areas, in his dark area, when he's playing like this and breaking stumps and getting 9 wickets, it's really important for him. So he got good confidence, and that's why we can see smile on his face. One thing, learn from Rizwan that it does not matter either you're performing well or not. Just enjoy your game.
Yeah,
and
give
just
you 100%.
Yes, give you 100%. And it's all about cricket. It gives you confidence, gives you enthusiasm. In cricket, you say that one day you are laughing and the other day you are crying. But the one thing, if you are laughing in each condition, in every situation, you will be performing well.
Absolutely. And these performances do speak for themselves as well. Our fast bowlers have had a really great time when we talk about that, specifically Hasan Ali when he's setting up the batsmen, bowling those deliveries. It's good for their self-confidence as well. But I think it gets even more important when you have Jimmy Bhai in the dressing room.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the dressing room counts really important.
Experience.
Yes, the experience counts. That's why when we talk about in Pakistan, the if Darren Sami sitting on the dugout of the Peshawar Zalmi. The Peshawar Zalmi performs well. Peshawar Zalmi comes up with the good confidence, and the same thing is happening with the Jimmy Bhai there, because he's sitting there and giving experience, confidence to their players. And one thing is important concerning Haris Rauf. A player from India, Umran Malik, is from occupied Kashmir, and he came there and he started his cricket from Jammu Kashmir, but he was fascinated, and he thinks that his mentor is Haris Rauf.
Yes.
And now is performing well for the...
I'll be very honest, I was going to say that this is one future prospect for India, but I think after this statement, I don't think he's going to be playing for India.
People are appreciating him. In Pakistan or India, they really respect cricketers. And, as Shahid Afridi and Shoaib Akhtar, they already said that
after Kohli over here as well.
Yeah, that after Pakistan, we're getting most love in India. And the same, we love Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli. So it's about cricket. It's not about the personalities, that if they are performing well.
Virat's struggling for form right now.
Yes, it's a good... and this is what give credit to Mohammad Asif, that Nawaz said he always struggled against the outswing deliveries, and he's giving edges to the slips. And Asif said a couple of years back that he's in good form, he's playing well, and that's why he's performing. But one thing, when he came out from the form, it would be really difficult to come back for the Virat Kohli. This is what Mohammad Asif said. And if you see the last couple of innings, in several matches, he's giving catches to the slip areas. What does it mean that he's lacking there?
Everybody has been tweeting about our players in the county championship. Regarding Shan Masood, there have been tweets. Hassan Ali's bowling was appreciated by Livingston. Shaheen Shah Afridi getting Manas Labuschagne out for countless times now. Yeah. And let me give you another fact. Manas also got the wicket of Shaheen Shah Afridi. So it was the other way around as well. Yeah. So that means that our brand of cricket now is again being established in the world.
Yes, after in 90s we heard that Wasim Akram, Waqar Yunus and Zamamul Haq, they're playing for the counties and scoring well. Saeed Anwar, so after a really long time that we're hearing this, because that the foreigner players in county, and that is from Pakistan, and they're playing really nicely, and they're playing really important role to the victories. If you talk about Derbyshire, they got Hassan Ali, they got Shan Masood. If you talk about Sussex, Hassan Ali performing well. So this is really important for the Pakistan cricket, that the entire world is watching that what's happening in county cricket, and especially Pakistani players.
And probably more players are going to be part, if you talk about next seasons now.
Therefore, Gore is there, and he's performing really nicely. Got 5-6 wickets there. Mohammad Rizwan is there. He got scored 22 runs and got 4 catches. Then Haris Rauf, Hassan Ali, Naseem Shah is there.
Disappointing, got an injury, 6 weeks out of the game again.
Yes, that's right. This would,
I mean, that's a very important topic, because he just made a comeback to the Pakistan team, remodeled his action, but now again out for 6 weeks. Your future now really hangs in the balance.
This is what all about your cricket is.
For a fast bowler.
Yes, and a fast bowler, that we heard that Shane Bond remained injured for a long time. He only played 20 test matches there. What kind of fast bowler he was, you do remember that. And with the Shoaib Akhtar, that he always got his knee injury. And Wasim Akram remained injured, Shoaib Akhtar, Waqar Yunus. So this is the problem with the fast bowlers. And Zahid, Mohammad Zahid, how we can forget about him, because he was a really fast and really pacey fast bowler. So this is the problem with the fast bowlers.
It's a problem, but all the best obviously to Naseem Shah. Rehab, 6 weeks out of the game. You're there to play a county championship. Very excited. Very, very unfortunate, I think, the way he's out. But nonetheless, Hassan Ali, Haris Rauf, Shaheen Shah Afridi, superb performances in the fast bowling department. Shan Masood leading it when you talk about the batters in Division 2. Absolutely superb performances, and the world is recognizing these performances. I think a lot more cricket for Pakistan and for Pakistani cricketers when we talk about the county championship and cricket in Pakistan as well in the future, with everything changing. Now the big one, Mohammad Amir is making a return to county championship.
Good. It's a return in the red ball cricket, because he announced the retirement, especially and because he was not happy with the coaches like Waqar Yunus and Misbah-ul Haq, and
the management. Yes.
And the management. He said that they're the responsible for my quittal. But I think that it's a good news for him, not for Pakistan, because I think it's more over now. Amir completed his time now. I don't think, and I cannot see any his comeback in red ball cricket.
Asif, let me be very honest. I think it's a very tricky subject, but let's be honest about it. That why did people start claiming that if the management changes, Amir will make a return? Because I think that policy does not come from Ramiz Raja, but we as Pakistanis generally realize that Mohammad Amir's time is now done. He's performed for Pakistan, thank you very much, but now I don't see a place for him.
Ramiz Raja was pretty much straightforward against the match fixing, and his stance was pretty much clear that I won't give any space to the match fixers in Pakistan side. That's why you see that Sherazi Khan, he was in the Karachi
Right,
Kings.
Asif, let me just interrupt you with apologies. We'll go towards a short break, but stay tuned. We will be right back. Welcome back to Sports Extra. Time now for a segment on Motogp. It was the Portuguese Grand Prix. Exciting as always to discuss this further. We've been joined by our sports expert Ali Mehdi. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm very well, Ahmad.
Look, I have been a Valentino Rossi fan. I'll be really honest, and I've loved Yamaha racing. But this time, I think when you talk about these new guys, a first win for Quartararo since 2021 tells us how badly he wanted this.
Look, he wanted it really badly. He hasn't won it for a year too. So he's come a long stride since then too. But it just shows that the hunger and desire he had to win it, and he had to work very hard to actually win the Portuguese Grand Prix, which is one of the most famous circuits in the world.
The Spanish and the Italians have dominated Motogp for quite some time. Marc Marquez, talk about him, Alex Rins going down. You've got so many names that currently and then, but it's generally dominated by the Spanish and the Italians, but this time two Frenchmen making the podium says a lot about the diversity.
No, it speaks volumes about them. The Frenchmen, for them to actually came, it shows the diversity. In the past, we used to see there used to be Australians to Europeans, Italians used to dominate, but now to two Frenchmen, that's something which is an anomaly, and it hasn't happened very often.
Yamaha again on the top, Ducati at number 2, and of course Suzuki Aprilia going back. So clearly a domination.
No, clearly a domination, and you see Yamaha has historically always dominated. Ducati has always been there too. So it's just these.
Tells us the importance of how important not just the rider but the machine is.
No, I think the machine is extremely important. Should it be MotoGP? Should it be F1? I mean, the Constructors' Championship, should it be both in Moto and F1, is extremely important. You need a good machine to win.
But once you have a victory after a whole year, would you put your money on him to go even further?
No, I think it's still early days too, but I still think that he has a very good opportunity to win this time. I mean, he's done very well in the Portuguese Grand Prix. It isn't an easy circuit for him to win. It's great, but I still think it's early. We'll have to wait and see.
Wait and see as well. Ali Mehdi, thank you very much for joining us. That's all we have time for this edition of Sports Extra. Fabio Quartararo, a year after taking victory, is truly special for him. For Yamaha itself as well, getting back on the podium is very, very important for them to have their survival in the race as well. But that's all we have time for. From me and the entire team, until our next show, it's goodbye for now.